This time at the Quick Speed Shop, I'm going to tell you the top 5 reasons why the nicest car I have gets driven the least. Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Josh. This is the Quick Speed Shop, and I'm standing next to the nicest car I own, which I drive the least. And we're going to go over the top 5 reasons why I drive it the least. Number 1, the shiny paint. This is school bus yellow, chromatic yellow, whatever you want to call it, school bus yellow. This car has very, very nice paint on it, and I'm not a shiny paint guy. I don't like cleaning stuff, and I'll tell you what, every time I drive this car, I have to clean it. Bugs stick to it. Road grime stick to it. Water spots stick to it. I've got well water. My well water is terrible. Every time I wash it, there's spots on the chrome right now that I didn't get off. I see enough. So it's a pain for me to keep it clean. It gets filthy immediately. Brake dust on yellow wheels. Road grime on yellow fenders, bugs on yellow fenders. This thing attracts bugs like nobody's business. There's one on it right now. There he goes, he ran away. It gets filthy immediately, and I hate cleaning stuff. So that's probably the number 1 reason why I don't drive that often, because it's a pain to keep it clean. Which is kind of a dumb reason, but that's like probably the number 1 reason. Well, maybe not number 1, it's probably number 2. You know what? The engine is number 1. Let's talk about that right now. If you know anything about these 400 cubic inch small block Chevy engines, they have Siamese cylinders in the middle of 2 ports, which means the water jackets don't go all the way around. They run extremely hot. It's got a cam in it. It's probably but close to 10 to 1. It needs 90 non-ethanol fuel plus octane booster to run without pinging. And it runs very, very warm. It'll run down the road about 185 degrees or so. It has an aluminum radiator with electric fan and open hood sides, as you can see. But down the highway, it runs 185 degrees. You get into town into traffic, immediately it's up to about 210. And then it runs in traffic like at 210 no matter what you do with it. I put water wetter in it, the whole 9 yards. It runs hot. And then you stop, like say to get fuel, the thing immediately heat soaks to like 230, 240. And then when you go to start it, it cranks over super, super hard. Like barely starts. You got to hold your foot to the floor. It'll finally start. But that's the number 2 reason. Almost actually probably better than the paint is. We'll make this the new number 1. Number 1 is the 400 small block runs way too hot and is problematic. This car also has 373 rear end gears in it, which I want to swap out. So it means it's going down the road at the highway speed of 70 miles an hour. It's turning 3,200 RPM, which is too much for a 400 small block. It runs hot doing that, probably 190. Then when you get off the highway, it skyrockets, and it runs hot no matter what. This car's got about 30,000 miles on it, and the engine was built 35 years ago. It's kind of tired. It uses oil. Like I said, it runs warm, and I think that's made it wear some clearance in it. And it doesn't really smoke, but it uses oil. And I think that's just from beating on it all these years. A lot of highway trips in this thing without overdrive, turning 3,000 RPM for hours at a time in a 400 running hot. It's just kind of worn the engine out. I'm thinking about changing it out for another small block, maybe even like a crate motor out of Summit Racing, like a Blue Point engine, aluminum head 383 or something to make 340 horse, but run on regular fuel and not run hot like this 400. So that's probably number 1 reason, is this hot 406 small block Chevy. Number 3 reason, the gorgeous interior. Now this is a little dated because it was done in about 1995. You can see it's tweed and it's sculptured and there's billet cranks and stuff. But this light blue tweed, as you can see here, like I said, I'm not good at cleaning things, and this interior gets filthy. I sit on this towel when I'm driving it, but as you can see on the back, there's some staining on the back. I've really got to get some carpet shampoo out and clean this seat up. The passenger seat and the back seat are a lot nicer because they haven't had as much usage, but there is some dirt here. This light blue tweed is very, very easy to get dirty. I have some more floor mats on top of the existing floor mats, but you can see, like I said, this car's got 30,000 miles on it, so it's been used, and there is some dirt in the interior. It really needs a really good detailing. But number 3 reason is that the light blue cloth interior is a dirt magnet. Number 4 reason, which I alluded to, the 373 rear end gears. This car screams down the highway. Like I said, 3,000 RPM. What we got here, if I can get under here and show you, got a Chevy 10 bolt. There it is, chrome cover. It's got a posi. It's out of, I think, a 75 Firebird, but it is too much for it's got, I think they're what's the size? 235 70 15s. So immediate, probably like a 25 point something inch tire, but too much RPM for the highway. So number 4 reason, the rear end gears. I want to swap them out to 308s. I was thinking about putting an overdrive in this, but overdrive transmissions now are like a 204R, about $2,500. I can have the rear end gears changed for probably $600 or $700 if I take the rear end out of the car. So I think I'm going to go do that, make it more usable on the highway without an overdrive. The 5th reason, lights and vision. This car has poor headlights. I'm probably going to upgrade these. These are some kind of aftermarket ring my dad had put on here with some Wagner halogens, but they're pretty dim at night. I might even think about getting some of those new Holley LEDs and try it. But the big problem is this windshield has a really dark piece here for sunlight, and the windshield is also tinted. If you can see, it's got some tint to it, and it makes it very hard to see in the dark out of it with the extreme amount of tint. It is extremely dark, but the rubber for these cars is very expensive, so I've been dealing with the glass being tinted, but I've got to take it places where I don't want to drive it in the dark. I don't want to hit deer with it. The headlights are poor, and the taillights are pretty small. They're 39 Ford taillights looking up at an angle. I do have a third brake light on the deck lid from a Dodge Omni, but it is, the lights are pretty small on the back. So nighttime driving limits it for a little bit here, so I try to plan trips around, which means just usually like close by cruise nights and things like that where I'm going to be in the daylight with the thing. So that also limits it to the amount of driving with it I do. But that's that's the 5th reason. That's not real serious, but it's not the best car to drive at night. So obviously I could never sell this car because my dad built it. I was there in 1983, I think, when he dragged it home from a barn unrestored and saw it got built. All for the years I've ridden around in it. We've taken it all over the East Coast. It's been to Vermont, York, Pennsylvania, all over the place, Syracuse. It just needs some finessing, I think. It was good for what it is, but from what it is now, the paint's not perfect anymore, so I don't feel bad about driving it. Stone chips. It used to have a bra on it, which I removed because it's just ugly with a bra. I'd rather just deal with stone chips and touch them up. But I am definitely going to have to do some things with the drivetrain. Like I said, I'm definitely going to change the rear end gears, put them down to whatever numerical gear will fit on the carrier. Probably 308's the lowest I can go, or the highest I can go, I should say. Numerically low, gear high. So 308s would help it out a lot. I'm really contemplating pulling the 400 out and putting something in it, either a different small block, or this car is worth it. I would probably buy a new long block and put in here from Summit, like Blue Point Engines or somebody. Put in a more tame 350 with a roller camshaft. Like this has roller camshaft, I think roller rockers. It's a station wagon engine. It's probably 2-bolt main. I would put in like a 350 4-bolt main with aluminum heads with a roller rocker and roller camshaft. Just make it real streetable. Try to get their thing to run cooler. If it ran cooler, it'd be way more usable. Combined with the highway gears, this has got a really good built turbo 350, so I really don't want to change that out. It shifts amazing. So if I could change the engine, make it something that ran cooler and ran good on lower octane fuel with highway gears, this car would be a great road trip cruiser. It rides really, really well. It's got a Camaro / Firebird subframe. It rides really nice. It weighs a lot, and so it rides very, very smooth down the highway. If with the right gears, it would cruise at 70, no problem. Very comfortable car. It's got windows. It's got a radio, full interior, like I showed you. So it is very comfortable road tripping car. It's just not really set up for that with the high RPM. When this was built, the speed limit was still 55 miles an hour in New York State. Now it's 65. In some places it's 70 if you go to Pennsylvania or Ohio, and it's just too much for this 400. It's worn it out running at a high RPM. So we'll probably see it on the channel. I don't know if this year I'll be doing much. Probably the rear end I'll start with first, then work forward with the engine, stuff like that. But I do want to put some more miles on it. I have some oil leaks, some coolant leaks I got to fix. I took it to cruise night the other night, so I put a few miles on it this year already. But I do definitely going to pull the rear end out of it, fix that, and be able to use it and enjoy it more, because honestly, it is the nicest car I have that I use the least. And you know, I like driving junk that you can just get in and go. My Model A hot rod shop truck, I've already driven 400 miles since I got it out this year. Drive it to work every day. It's currently filthy, covered in dust and pollen, and guess what? I get in it and go, and I don't worry about it. This thing, you know, I've already cleaned it 3 times, and I've driven it 25 miles, so definitely going to do some work on this in the future. You haven't seen hardly any of it the whole time I've had on the channel, because honestly, it just sits in the barn, just because all the reasons I said. So tell me what you think. Bleep bloop the comments down there. Am I crazy? Should I do it? Should I drive it more? Should I say screw it and just go? Whatever. Let me know. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again. Bam. Am I a shiny car guy? We'll find out here at the Quick Speed Shop.